in that second, right?
Yep.
And
What time?
are we ready to go? We are live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Real Hospitality Live. Today, I am stoked to be able to bring this company to you to have a talk with the president of this organization. This is something that was brought to me many months ago, and when we got on the phone and we got talking about what this company does and how they're involved in the hospitality industry and how they can help not just operators but people who want to do business with the hospitality industry, et cetera, we just couldn't even get off of the call. It could have gone for days. Today's guest is Trevor Shimiu of Brizo FoodMetrics. I always call it Brizo, and then I had to add the FoodMetrics onto the end because it just rolls off the tongue when we're talking about you and we get excited about you. It's Brizo, Brizo, Brizo. Welcome today, Trevor. Thanks for coming, man.
Appreciate it, Jason. Super excited to be on here and getting the opportunity to kind of speak with you and everyone in the network as well. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, today we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, you name it. If you happen to be watching us live, feel free to put comments on the show. If you have questions of Trevor, this is what's going to happen. I mean, it's an interactive program, so we're going to be getting those. Robbie, who is our producer, she's going to be forwarding them on to us so that we can answer any questions in the moment. We have a lot to talk about, and it's really exciting what Brizo is doing. And let's kind of just dive right into it, Trev. I mean, you guys are a FoodMetrics company, and by FoodMetrics, what exactly does that mean in a rounded sense? And then we'll get into it in more detail.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think everyone that's listening and everyone that's out there kind of knows that the world is moving to a data-driven world. There's just so much access to information out there that it's helping us to make these decisions and move away from the gut feeling and towards these data-driven decisions based on factual information. So, Brizo FoodMetrics is all about that, is bringing that data and the insights into the hospitality industry, helping anyone that wants to know anything about the industry whatsoever to be able to get near real-time access to that information in a few simple clicks. And that's what we're trying to do and really trying to help out, whether it be, restaurant vendors to restaurant owners to be able to bring this capability to them.
Well, I mean, the data that you guys are able to gather and to have readily available, and the fact that it's super fresh data, it's not something from 1998 that we're still clinging to, is just absolutely key. And the way that you guys gather it is really cool too. So let's talk about a little bit specifics about some of the data and where you're getting it from, and then we can talk about where it fits.
Yeah, of course. So really, the answer is we're trying to get it from anywhere and everywhere possible, right? So we have a growing list of sources that we're collecting information from. Currently, we're sitting at roughly over 500,000 sources that we're out visiting regularly and collecting the insights from those areas. So, a large portion obviously being directly from the websites of these restaurants themselves. I mean, there's a wealth of information that is available just on the website itself that, we're going out there, getting the menu items, we're understanding their online tech stack that they're using. We're taking a look at how many locations they have, but then we kind of broaden it from there. So from the websites, we then go to the online review forums and collecting information on ratings and reviews and comments that are made by the consumers that are visiting these places. We're going to social media, all the social media outlets that are out there and gathering insights and information from there as well. Google Places, we're going to business registries, directly to the marketplace delivery app sites as well. I mean, literally anywhere and everywhere that you're going to find a piece of information, we're trying to capture it, bring it all together into one individual profile for each of those restaurants so that we can take a clear look at what's going on out there.
I think the really cool thing about getting access to this data, and I get all excited, right? As you know, the cool thing about being able to get access to this data is it's for franchisors, franchisees, investors, equipment companies, marketing data is in there, service organizations. Like we were talking on pre-show yesterday, and like it's so cool that if you are, I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy at Vito Oil Canada, Jason Sawitsky. I mean, this is something for him specifically that he could do if he wants to know if a restaurant's got deep fryers. You can tell because they've got fried food on the menu. If you are a ghost kitchen brand and you're looking to say, okay, well, there are so many other restaurants or concepts of this style within this neighborhood, and how long have they been there for? What type of menu items do they have? When was the last time they changed their menu item? What's the price point? What's the populace? All of these things are amazing info to have, to be able to tap into, that you guys have fresh and readily available. I mean, how often do you guys refresh again?
So we're out visiting these sources 24/7. We're pushing new data into the application on a weekly basis. But for us to run a full cycle, we're looking at somewhere about 30 days. We're also trying to be really good internet citizens as well, making sure that we're not causing any havoc on anything that we're visiting. So, at that 30-day cycle is pretty much the longest that we would run through any of our given sites.
Well, there you go. I mean, so it's never more than a month old.
Exactly. And it's so important. I mean, I don't need to tell you how fast moving and segmented this industry is. Unfortunately, even more after the last 12 months that we've all been living through the pandemic, that there's just so much change going on out there that, the fresher the data, essentially, the better, right? And so that's what we're about being, is providing the fresh insights. Let's move away from those static Excel spreadsheets or other methods that we were using previously, and let's get us this real-time insights that's available out there.
And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. This isn't just for big organizations that are looking for their next location. This is for, if you're a smaller operator and you want to open your next store, or if you just want to see what your competition is doing for price point, or what's trending in your area, then this is amazing that you can just go and tap into this. I mean, it's a subscription-based program that you guys do, which is awesome. So you can opt into that, get all the information that you require. And if you decide you're going to do a menu change or an equipment change, or you're just looking to go to a new area, and we were even talking yesterday about companies that are doing ghost kitchen concepts in like industrial parks. If you want to know, where other ghost kitchens are maybe going to a particular industrial park, why are they going there, how long they've been there for, and what kind of business are they doing? I mean, this is key.
Exactly. I mean, we're not just focusing on the businesses that are still up and operating. We're also identifying businesses that are closing their locations as well. So, when you talk about the ghost kitchens that are kind of doing some of their real estate investigating there to figure out, where is the appropriate place for us to be setting up that next shop, that's obviously one great use case. You talked a little bit about not just large businesses, but small ones. I mean, for us, really, it's everything in between, right? We've got a dashboard for the smaller, medium-sized businesses that are maybe not as mature with regards to the way that they're handling data today. But we've also got direct feeds for the larger companies and the larger chains that are out there that are already pretty mature with what they're doing for data, but maybe just don't have the capabilities. I mean, this is not core business for any of them, right? So anything that's being done in that space is taking away from their core business. This is our core business. So, even in the larger ones, we're supplementing what they already have to just continue to expand and broaden their capabilities and the availability to what they have.
I think the details in there are amazing, to the point where if you're a small operator, you can afford to get this information from you guys. This isn't, you don't have to spend $1 million to get involved in this, which was of course exciting for us in the network, because we really want people to have access to be better, to do better, to be able to make better decisions. And the other thing is what excites me too, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but when we're talking about government organizations and associations, to be able to really get up-to-date key data as to what's going on within a particular region, whether or not something's trending, or whether something's going away, or if the market in reality is doing this or doing this.
Yeah, that's exactly it. As we said at the beginning, it's not just limited to vendors and operators. It's really anyone that has any type of interest in what's going on within the industry. So whether it be tourism, whether it be other government entities that are trying to understand what's happening and even make important decisions as to how they're going to approach the next 12 to 18 months after everything that's gone on and during the pandemic. That's that capability here once again is we know how much manual work a lot of businesses were doing in this particular space. Before we actually launched our product, we spent about a good 2 years of just doing research to understand this market. We're from the data world, but didn't necessarily come from the hospitality world. So we wanted to make sure that we truly understood the people that are in this industry, the people that are analyzing this industry, to make sure that we were on point with what we were doing and trying to get that product market fit. And that's why we're at the point that we are today. Is we're starting to surround ourselves with great people such as the Real Hospitality Network, as well as our advisors that come from this space to say, this is the stuff that's going to be important to everyone that's going to be accessing the data, and we want to make sure that we're able to help everybody essentially to be able to get that insights that we know is just so important.
So you guys are in year 2 now with this particular project. What type of companies are coming to you and looking for data and info? I mean, I know you guys work with third-party delivery companies. You've got restaurant brands, et cetera. So what type of product, or what type of, you don't have to name drop the company, but I mean, what type of sections?
Yeah, of course. Great question. So, I mean, to kind of give you an idea of the broad range, as you mentioned, the marketplace delivery businesses we're working with, online ordering solutions that we're working with. We have a business that recycles the grease from kitchens, very similar to what you mentioned in the Vito oil previously, and having a wanting an understanding of not just who restaurants are, but the ones that are using a large amount of oil and have a lot of fried products on their menus. We're working with chains. We're working with independents, hospitality groups. It's really broad. Contactless payment is an area. A lot of ours over the last 12 months have been within the food technology space, just simply because those are the ones that are seeing the largest growth over the last 12-month period, just with a lot of the brick and mortar places being shut down. But over the last 2-3 months, we've seen a lot more interest within those areas. I mean, we've even go as far as we have one client that helps to organize the entire wine cellar for restaurants that have a large wine system, to make sure that they're opening the bottles at the premium time, that as prices are changing, they're making sure that they're not charging the same price that they bought the bottle at 4 or 5 years ago, that they're updating their price list as opposed to. So, because we're collecting menus and wine cards, it allows us the opportunity to give them the insights on even just who are the restaurants that have X number of wine bottles on their wine card. So it's really varied, and that's not even including the conversations that we're still in right now that continue to go across a number of different areas.
I think that's awesome. You talk about the wine. I mean, that unto itself for an operator, for a bar manager to be able to get this type of information, to make a decision as to how you want to keep your wine list up to date, or if you happen to be a purveyor and you want to get your wine into a particular wine list at an operation. I mean, that's really awesome, because you can say, okay, well, I don't even have to go knock on their door. I know that they don't have a Portuguese wine on there, for example. I mentioned that because our friend Avelino Santos, I'm name dropping, is a Portuguese wine importer, and it's good stuff. We have a question from our friend Darren Adair down in the US. And by the way, everybody, Trevor's in Montreal today. And so he's broadcasting around the world from Montreal, Quebec.
Yes, that's right.
Darren's question is there one specific trend change that you have seen over the past year that really surprised you?
Whew, that's a great question. I mean, there's been so much change that we've seen within the data, I would say, over the last 12-month period, to kind of focus on one I don't know if, well, I guess it is kind of a surprise that, we did see that a large number of restaurants were not really online and having an online presence very much. So I don't know if it's necessarily a trend that we've seen that surprised me as so much as a starting point that surprised me, that that just the online presence was not there for a lot of the smaller to medium-sized restaurants, that we are seeing a huge spike now. They understanding that they need to be at least at a minimum on a marketplace delivery app, or offering online ordering. So, I would say it's more of the starting point that really surprised us significantly, but just the significant changes in the technology, as well as the consolidation. Maybe a company was only doing online ordering prior to the pandemic, and now they're opening up their suite of solutions that they're offering to incorporate contactless payment and maybe brand management or their website or what have you. So I think the trend is just seeing how much the technology side of what's going on in the restaurants has just significantly shifted, or not even shifted, but fast forwarded just by a requirement over the last 12 months is something that's interesting that we've seen.
I think that's a really valid point that you make about restaurants and online presence and whatnot, because we as a hospitality industry, that's a different world for us to our core of what we do. Is what we want to do is we want to feed people. We want to make sure they're happy with the food. We want to welcome them into our home. And really that's our focus. But to be able to access technologies and whatever the internet and marketing people would have you think, we as an industry aren't super quick to grab technology, and we're also not super quick to implement it unless it's simple, makes sense, quick to install, and we can see an exact need for it and have it affect our business right now. Those are the key things, right?
Yeah, definitely. And so that's why, something that Brizo FoodMetrics did early on in the pandemic, after identifying that particular point, whether it be through conversation, we're constantly monitoring, let's just say the Reddit feeds of this world to understand, what are the pain points of the restaurant owners. So what we did is we actually provided access to a free dashboard during the pandemic that just allowed restaurant owners to understand what were the most popular delivery services within their market. And something simple like that just understanding, I've never done this before, and where do I begin, was a pretty quick and easy little step for us, that we said, hey, let's do our part. Let's give the insights that we already have and put that out there, and feedback and the demand that we got just from the simple dashboard helped us to see that exactly as you mentioned is, there's a need for this stuff. It's just sometimes not knowing where to start at. And that's what we wanted to be, is that place to say, hey, let's take a look at what everyone else has done and what's working out there. And, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be trying the same things out as well.
Yeah. And what you have is super user friendly too. I've gone through the demo with you and I was able to follow along, and I'm not the tech guy around here at all. So what's coming up for you guys? I know you're poised to take over the world, and there's some great things ahead that we've talked about. But so what are you guys looking to the future, and what's new?
Yeah, great question. So we actually just brought on an investor. So we're now part of the branded strategic hospitality family, which is super exciting for us. They've got a lot of great knowledge within that space that's really going to allow us to accelerate some of the things that we were already considering and looking at to add for 2021 and beyond. Some of the things that are the most interesting is the monitoring of the health of restaurants. So, obviously us being able to track a lot of these data points that we're collecting, we're able to start to monitor a lot of these restaurants, how they're doing online and things like that. So that's something that's pretty interesting. I mentioned about collecting menu items. We just surpassed somewhere in the range of about 125 million menu items within our database from over 600.
125 million.
That's right, 125 million. We're collecting the prices with that as well. That's coming from roughly around 2/3 of menus out there. So we're still running through the process. That equals about 600,000 plus menus that we're working on. So some exciting stuff that's coming there that's going to be super interesting as well are two of the major points. And then really just trying to understand of where we're going to continue to increase and improve on the existing product that we have right now. So as you mentioned, the dashboard is the way for a lot of our users to be able to get that quick insights. And I'm not the tech guy myself either. I've got a great team that's on the technical side. So, I'm able to help on that space as well to say, guys, this is too complicated. We need to make it a little bit easier for me too.
There you go. We've got another question from my friend Guru Singh of Gazoo Kitchens. In the cloud kitchen world, as we all know, we have a variety of brands operating from one location. So is Brizo data capable of providing data related to different cuisines and food culture, which is changing rapidly?
Yeah, great question. So that relates directly to what we're talking about in the menu items there. So because we're constantly refreshing that information, our data scientist is working on essentially normalizing and making all of that insights actionable. So to give you an idea, as we were working with a sushi chain in Canada here, that they were trying to understand, what was happening in some of the other markets that have high rent. So knowing that those types of businesses are going to be focusing on products that are going to fit within their margins that they're looking for, and then replicating those products in a market like Quebec City or Ottawa, where they're going to yield high returns on those products that are not costing them. So definitely, that's what we're focusing on. That's the area that is a high attention of ours, and essentially the goal is to be exactly to do that, is to be able to allow people to understand, what are the new trends, what are the new products, what are the new ingredients that we're finding out there, so that people can hop on those trends and make sure that they're serving it to their clients and getting them the food that everyone else is looking for or they're hearing about.
I think Guru had a good point there too about cultural cuisines also. I mean, when we talk about trends, we sometimes think, okay, well, this is a new product. And I always joke about sun-dried tomatoes as a in the restaurant world. And anybody in restaurants knows that that's a particular decade and it's a particular time in our world, right? But when we talk about cultural foods, I mean, whether or not you want to get into a particular thing, maybe it's a Chinese restaurant you want to get into, or maybe it's a chicken joint you want to get involved in, or pizza, or whatever that happens to be, or that you're already involved in and think maybe you should want to add something to your menu. This is a fantastic way to find out whether or not that makes sense by the numbers.
Exactly. And I mean, so we try to get very granular with regards to the data, and we make sure that we segment it out properly as well. So, each of our data points and each of our restaurants and each of our menus are then attributed to, the types of cuisine that these restaurants are offering. So, we could tell you the overall trends that are going on, or if we wanted to get very granular to say, okay, well, let's focus on Japanese restaurants in the South or even in Florida to see, what are the trends there that maybe we want to bring across, is the types of things that we're working on and that we're going to make available to our clients.
I think a lot of areas in North America, when we talk about finding out what's happening and for example, this Canadian company finding out what's happening in New York, what's happening in Florida, what's happening in Chicago, we can't discount that a lot of these buying trends are very similar. So if it's working in New York or if it's working in Halifax, then odds are it's going to work in Saskatoon or it's going to work in Winnipeg. And if you can do that by the numbers and they can get this information through you, then I mean, those are really educated decisions.
100%, 100%. And again, that's what a lot of the big brands are doing today is, they're focusing on that, but not everyone has the same budgets as those large businesses, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to want that information or be interested in that information. So, again, we love working with the big ones, but, it's all about making sure that everyone's trying to play on that same level playing field and getting the insights that are going to be important.
So, I mean, I have this list in my head, and I'm always thinking about what you guys are doing, which is really cool. But I mean, this we say about independent operators, we talk about big operators, but this is for franchisors, franchisees deciding whether or not they want to go into a particular area before you go and spend your money to go in there. Investors who are just going to put their money into a startup or a restaurant. I mean, you can be educated before you even write the check. Equipment companies, what's working in a particular area. Maybe woks are hot. Maybe Turbo Chef style ovens are hot. Whatever seems to be going on in that particular region. Marketing data, service organizations. I mean, and this is something for consultants to use the hell out of too.
Yeah, I mean, a number of other things that we're incorporating in there is, in the areas where, we might be having data that is necessary, but not something that is our core business. We're partnering with third-party data vendors as well to start bringing in these additional pieces that are going to continue to augment what we already have access to. So as an example, adding in demographic data has been something that's going to helpful kind of exactly in that space. So, understanding population and demographics within a given market, also being able to analyze your competitors within that market as well. And if we're opening up a new concept or a new restaurant, instead of trying to maybe squeeze a concept into a market, maybe developing a concept specifically for that market, or taking a look, are there already 15 different sushi chains in that zip code?
Right.
Maybe there's not enough room for another sushi one. So either, looking for something different or finding another market that's maybe only has 2 or 3 of them, that there's more opportunity in there as well, are the types of things that, we're trying to help out with.
Well, even following that red thread as to what's on their menu. If they all have the same thing on their menu, then that's probably the popular thing to be doing. So
Exactly.
awesome. What you guys are doing is so cool. And like I said, when we first started talking about this many months ago, I'm stoked to have you guys as part of what we're doing, and to be able to introduce you to everybody today has been awesome. Thanks for being here, man.
I appreciate it, Jason. I mean, we're super excited as well, and I'm looking forward to our next conversations as well. And we got some interesting stuff that we'll be able to go into more, and it'll be a lot of fun.
So my guest today has been Trevor Shimiu of Brizo FoodMetrics. And if you are in the hospitality industry, you have got to talk to these people. This is a great opportunity to learn more, educate yourself, get the data that you need to make educated decisions, whether or not you are a bar manager, or you are an investor, or you're an equipment provider or salesperson. This is the information that you need to be able to move forward, not just guessing it or winging it along the way. If you are following us on any of the platforms that we're on live, then feel free to leave a comment or a question, anything that you want to add to the conversation, or if you're looking to get some feedback from Trevor. We are going to be, over the next 24 hours, 48 hours, we'll be popping back onto the thread, answering questions. And it happens all the time. People will catch the replay after the show because they didn't catch it live. So there's a great opportunity to ask lots of questions. It's easy to get a hold of Trevor. He's on LinkedIn, and it's easy to find his company. And I think in the comments below, wherever you're watching, you can find them there. So on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and all of the other ones, you can find Brizo on there. And again, if you're in this industry, this is the best way to educate yourself affordably and to educate yourself up to date. Thanks so much for being here today, Trevor.
Appreciate it, Jason.
We'll talk soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.